En junker red ved juletid.
Ching chang ching du til dig.
Og bring ham derved sneen hvid.
Ching chang ching du til dig.
Totes. Topic of the episode show. This is a series that was founded by two individuals, Patrick Swinford and Kevin Bradley. It has received no critical acclaim, few interactions, but they love it. Up on today's docket, we have demos. What would you make? We're going to start, possibly,
Sorry.
with the person to my left. With the person to my right, your left. If you were to make a demo for a game that you love to convince people to play it, what would you make and why?
Ocarina of Time, Deku Tree. It is a perfect representation of what that game is. It's early enough in the game that you're not confused by any controls or anything like that.
The controls are simple. The tools are easily understood.
Yeah, almost self-explanatory. And there are very few things that have my least favorite thing in video games, which is, what do I do? I don't know what to do. I don't know where to go. I don't know, like, everything is, if you just keep running around, you will find it. And that takes away that element.
And it's a small enough area that, yeah. And so whenever you get the slingshot in that one?
I believe so.
And the slingshot is something that is easily understood, and you can see, like, it explains to you right away, okay, this is what you're supposed to do with that.
The enemies are, if not easily defeated, then they kind of tell you how to beat them. In one case, literally, they tell you how to beat an enemy, which is, if I'm not mistaken, 2-3-1. And it's just... Yeah.
It's also a really good setup. It's a good training ground for the Ztargeting, which was something that was very important in that game. And if the Ztargeting had not worked, that game would not be beloved as it is.
It would be atrocious.
Yeah, but they figured it out.
Yeah,
and they managed to do it. Side note: my favorite part of Ocarina of Time is the trippy castle, where you've got, like, the twisting hallways and crap. Like, I love that place. The Dark Forest Temple. Oh, but it's so good.
It's the Shadow Temple.
Yeah, and the boss fight where you're like, where do I shoot?
That, yes. We actually, I don't know if you remember, we played it on an afternoon, and we got so into the game that my cat was in the closet and we didn't know, and rustled in the closet. It scared us both half to death because we were so into this. We were looking with the eye of truth, and we're like trying to look around. We can't see anything. And there's an invisible enemy, and all of a sudden we hear this rustling. We're like, ah! It was way too much. It was so scary.
Yeah, that's a good one. Mega Man X, Chill Penguin Stage.
Yes.
The demo is a lot of fun, sets up the story, and introduces you to a lot of concepts. However, Chill Penguin Stage allows you to get the most important upgrade. If you don't do Chill Penguin first, you're going to have a lot harder time for the rest of the game.
And in some cases, impossible to get past certain parts. Well, no, it's to get upgrades, isn't it? To get upgrades. Not
until you get to Wily's Castle.
Yeah.
Sigma's Castle. Whatever.
Sigma. But yeah.
Wily Sigma.
No, I'm thinking because if you don't have the dash, you can't get the upgrade in the fire.
No, you can't.
Yeah.
You also can't get the
upgrade. Which I see as essential.
You are not wrong. You also can't get several heart pieces.
Including the one in the forest.
You're gonna have a bad time. You're gonna have a bad time. So from the comments,
from the Peanut Gallery.
Yes. A demo of MGS would be awesome. The demo of MGS 2 is one of the greatest demos ever released because it's on the ship. It maintained the illusion that you were going to play as Solid Snake for the whole game, and it's like a good hour and a half demo, and like it's amazing. It sets up probably about a third of the cast of the people you're going to fight, and it makes you angry at them. And that's a great place to start. It shows off the camouflage. It has the part where he's walking on a bridge. He engages his camo and then jumps off the bridge onto a deck, lands, lightning sparks everywhere, and his camouflage fails. And it's just, it's at that time, it was the most cinematic thing I'd ever seen. My thing that I'm trying to figure out is for Final Fantasy VI. There's so much in that game that I want to share with you, but I think that the opening scene, up until you get out of Figaro, or out of Narsh, mm-hmm. or from Figaro Castle to the end of Mount Colts. End of Figaro Castle to Mount Colts is really hard.
It is.
So I would bump up the levels.
Yeah.
So that becomes a little bit easier.
I would say probably the former.
The big thing about the former is if you do that, you get the Death on the Snowfield opening credits. Which I don't know how like mind-blowing it is now, but that scene is what sold me on that game. Because I'm sitting there watching and I'm like, okay, she's a slave or something. I don't know who she is. She's powerful. She's a witch. Okay. But then you've got the music and the snow and you've seen how massive these things are, and like you slowly see them approaching this city, and then once you get there, you realize just how overpowered these machines are against people, and how determined they are to stop you. Everybody that attacks you in Narsh knows they're going to die. And they throw themselves in your way, desperate to keep you from gaining more power.
Yeah.
And then after that, you've got... And then Terra gets her first two allies in there, the old man and Locke. Mm-hmm. And Locke is just one of the goofier characters in the game. And so you know that there's going to be some humor in it.
Yeah.
And... yeah. It's just a lot of fun.
It's an amazing, fun, but also really oddly emotional. Terra connecting with the sprite. That is confusing, but you know that something very important is happening, which is why I would choose that sequence over the other, because it is very emotional, and Terra's obviously the central character. And that moment of connection is very, very important.
The other thing is, if you try to go back into the city, lady, didn't you just bust in here like yesterday wearing Magitech armor?
Obliterating all of us.
You get out.
Yeah.
And so the huge conflict is encapsulated in those interactions that you experience there. You know, this better not have anything to do with that Magitech writing, which, because we're going to edit it for American audiences.
Which I appreciate.
And you do get lines like "son of a submariner,"
which is
that is definitely not the original line.
I don't. Yes, it is.
Yeah,
that's absolutely an insult that makes sense in English.
Son of a submariner, and it's also somewhat. It's a bit of foretelling, because he didn't... I don't think he knew that it could go under the sand, but it totally did.
Yeah.
And that is a submarine castle. And then in more recent games, I would put the first half hour or so of Child of Light. That game was exceptional, and the simplicity of movement. And when you first start that game, you are just Aurora and her Firefly, and you're going through, and he's explaining things to her. You do a couple of puzzles, you do a little bit of combat, you figure out how the turn-based system works, and it's just really fantastic. And then the last one I'm going to say is for Journey, and that is just go play that game. It's not that long.
If you want to do El Shaddai, the nice thing is you can just pick any sequence because it doesn't matter.
No reason.
The game does not make sense, and you might as well just pick something because in sequence or out of sequence, it doesn't make sense, and you might as well just have fun because it's just psychedelic God of War in a weird way. Also, geese.
Archangel geese.
Archangel geese.
Seriously, if you don't understand why we're so excited about that game is like, I've played worse games. I've never played a weirder game.
Yeah, me neither.
But speaking of weirder games, Tuesday on PlayStation 4, Gang Beasts.
Yes.
We're getting Gang Beasts, and that makes me so happy. The demo, if you go and look, and I don't know if Patrick's going to throw this in here, but look up the demo of Gang Beasts and see how they they pick up a character, they walk them over to the edge, and they try to throw them off. That's not how the game is played. What happens is one of you walks over, picks up a character, the character on top picks you up back, and then you kind of both struggle over to the edge, and then you're probably both going to fall.
There's a pretty good chance, yeah. Or one of you will pick up the other one, and the one on top will just start slinging around like a rubber band for no apparent reason, and then the third character who's not involved in the situation falls off because that just happened.
Also, the first time I ever played that game, there was a chain where all four people were hanging off a ledge, and the person on top suddenly realized, if we drop right now, I'm the last one to hit the bottom, and went, hey guys, you know what? And we all went, what? And he won the round. And then you've got the ones with like the signs when you're on the tops of trucks, and like you just occasionally get flattened. That is okay. Local co-op has like pixel art games has kind of had a resurgence of whatever, and local co-op is something that indies have like stepped up, and they've done their thing. And honestly, that any part of like just a round of that game and you get it.
Get some friends, get some drinks, and just go for it. It is one of the most fun multiplayer games I think that I've ever played. And just if you don't know what Gang Beasts is, basically what we're talking about is a game that put out a beta.
And the characters are made from the same material as Gumby. Like they're all made of taffy.
This game put out a beta, and it was originally supposed to be a game that you picked people up and you threw them off, and basically it was glitchy as all get out.
They released the alpha.
The alpha.
And people were like, do not change it. Don't fix this. Don't change it. We love it. We love you just the way you are.
And it's it's one of the most fun multiplayer games I've ever had, just because you have no idea what's going to happen at any given time.
I have no desire to see like people who have learned how to play the game. No. If at some point I get good at the game, I'm probably going to stop playing then. Yeah. Because the fun is...
You can get good at the game. Like, when sometimes you let go of the button and it doesn't let go. Right. Or it lets go but in the wrong direction, or... I don't know that you can get good at that game. It's just absolute nonsense.
Yeah. And then the last demo that I would do is I would give you base game Binding of Isaac. I introduced you to Binding of Isaac but you were playing on my game, which has all of the super, like, I get extra challenging characters, but they're more likely to drop items or explode, you know?
I died once about every 30 seconds.
Yeah. So give somebody the base game and tell them that you have to treat it like an anime. Play an hour and a half of this game, and by the end of the hour and a half, you're gonna know. Because, like, if you watch the first episode of an anime and you don't like it, I don't care. Keep watching. It's the rule of 5 for anime.
Yeah.
You have to watch 5 before, like, anime develops more slowly, and they introduce characters, and your favorite character might not show up until episode 3, because it's about the development. And however, if you don't like Cowboy Bebop after episode 1, there's something wrong with you. You need to go to a hospital, get checked out, then come back, watch Cowboy Bebop. It's glorious. So the demo for Cowboy Bebop is the show. Watch all of it, come back, thank me, and we will see you next week. Let us know in the comments if we missed any. Thanks for watching This Week in Our Collective Heads. Subscribe over here and click the bell, and that way you'll know about any new videos that we put up, because we put up a lot of gameplay, a lot of stories from games and stuff like that, and gameplay is down here.
Yeah, and you got more editorials and news stuff down here. Check it out.